Yeah, well, we're busy, of course. Evita opens at the Palladium this summer, so we're collaborating with Jamie Lloyd again following Sunset Boulevard. Well, Rachel was desperate to play Eva Peron. You know, it was her idea.
Theater circles are on fire after a jaw-dropping rehearsal video leaked from Evita. The security footage, now making the rounds among insiders, shows Rachel Zegler, the face of the production, getting escorted off stage. And it sure didn't look voluntary. In the clip, 2 security guards close in on her from both sides, while the cast and crew just stand there, completely frozen in shock. The wildest part? The whole room goes dead silent. The music cuts off, no one moves a muscle, and you can practically feel the tension dripping from the screen. According to folks connected to the show, this wasn't some method acting moment or a dramatic rehearsal twist. It was real and messy. Sources say this was the peak of weeks of behind-the-scenes drama between Zegler and the creative team. Whatever was going on backstage had clearly been boiling for a while, and it finally exploded in front of everyone. What makes this even more shocking is how Zegler started this journey. She was so hyped about playing Eva Peron. She called the role transformative, life-changing, even culturally significant. Her socials were packed with behind-the-scenes clips and deep posts about how honored she felt to portray such a powerful, historical figure. For a minute, it looked like Evita was going to be Rachel Zegler's comeback move, her big chance to step away from all that past drama. The press was eating it up, fans were hyped, folks were genuinely excited to see her tackle such a tough, iconic role. Everything seemed locked in for a win until it all started to unravel fast. Those cheerful behind-the-scenes posts, gone. In their place, cryptic captions and a whole lot of silence. People close to the production say Zegler started calling the set unsafe and hostile in private chats that somehow ended up on fan pages. She used heavy terms like creatively gaslighting, which set off alarm bells for a lot of folks who'd been rooting for her. She allegedly started saying the creative vibe felt controlling and oppressive, even though earlier she was all about collaboration. But insiders are saying maybe it wasn't about the environment, it was about the expectations. Word is, Zegler realized this wasn't going to be a spotlight all on her kind of show. Evita demands tight ensemble energy, fast movement, and constant teamwork. That shift reportedly didn't sit right with her. As tension built up in rehearsals and stories started leaking out, her team allegedly went into full-on cleanup mode. Some in the industry are calling this a pattern. They're pointing out how she once hyped up projects like Snow White and Shazam, Fury of the Gods, only to later step back when things got complicated. But this time, the fallout wasn't just about Rachel Zegler. It dragged everyone in. Cast, members, crew, even producers were pulled straight into the chaos as things got messier by the day. From the jump, sources say rehearsals were rocky. It started with small stuff, Zegler showing up late with a different excuse every time. But then it escalated. She allegedly challenged the director's vision, pitched her own staging ideas, and even changed the choreography on her own. No approval, nothing. A tech crew member reportedly said that every single lighting cue turned into an argument. Director Jamie Lloyd. Word is he was spending more time managing moods than shaping the show. It was less about theater, more like babysitting emotions. And it got worse. The rest of the cast started adjusting to the tension in subtle but telling ways. Ensemble performers began asking to move away from specific spots on stage. Sound techs had to tweak audio setups just to balance out random vocal changes. The whole energy shifted. What was supposed to be a tight creative crew started falling apart piece by piece. Then came the final straw, a high-stakes full run-through in front of producers and big-money backers. Just minutes in, Zegler allegedly stopped everything, going off about lighting, costume choices, and even the color palette. The crew scrambled to fix it, only to find out she had already left the building without a word. And this didn't just happen once. Sources say she pulled that disappearing act more than once. Things got so tense that director Lloyd cut off all direct contact with her. No more face-to-face, no more discussions. From that point on, every note had to go through assistants or stage managers. That's basically unheard of in pro theater, where the director-actor connection is everything. Things got so messy, the production team had to ditch creative planning altogether and switch into full-blown crisis mode. Behind the scenes, producers were calling up legal experts to comb through Rachel Zegler's contract, figuring out if they could recast, and fast. Understudy rehearsals reportedly kicked into high gear while everyone tried to keep things under wraps. The once energetic rehearsal space, it turned ice cold. People came in, did the bare minimum, and dipped out in silence. No laughs, no buzz. Just tension hanging in the air. And through it all, nobody knew if the production would even make it to opening night. Word spread like wildfire through London's theatre scene. The West End might be famous worldwide, but insiders say it runs like a small-town network where whispers matter. Casting directors allegedly started texting each other with growing concern about Zegler. No one was questioning her raw talent, but the vibe? Totally off. They were worried about what they called potential instability. It didn't stop there. Industry folks reportedly started re-examining her whole resume. Agents and producers were digging back through past projects, missed press events, awkward interviews, online spats. Stuff that once looked like one-off slip-ups now started to look like a pattern. One casting assistant allegedly said, "Zegler's now on watch, not blacklisted, but being handled real carefully." In one Broadway casting meeting, her name reportedly sparked an awkward silence. People just didn't want the risk. And maybe the biggest shock, young up-and-comers who used to look up to her are now stepping back. Some vocal coaches even started using her story as a straight-up cautionary tale. As the drama kept building, Rachel Zegler didn't stay quiet, but she also didn't spill any real tea. Just like during the Snow White backlash, she went back to her usual playbook. Cryptic, poetic posts packed with emotional vibes. She shared messages about holding space, healing through chaos, and choosing grace in unsafe rooms. The kind of stuff that hits with loyal fans but leaves industry pros rolling their eyes and asking, "Where's the accountability?" This tactic, turning workplace clashes into deeper talks about empowerment and growth, has helped her dodge heat in the past. But this time, the stakes are different. We're talking real production delays, lost money, and major disruptions. Aesthetic Instagram quotes just aren't going to fix that. No doubt Zegler's rise has been wild. She went from total unknown to starring in West Side Story after being discovered by Steven Spielberg himself. Her voice, powerful. Her screen presence, unmissable. Critics were ready to crown her the next big thing. But since then, her journey's been shaky. Shazam! Fury of the Gods flopped hard, and she didn't help matters when she reportedly admitted she only took the role for the paycheck. That rubbed fans and studio execs the wrong way big time. And during Snow White promo rounds, she stirred up even more backlash by calling the original cartoon creepy and saying the prince character was basically useless. Not exactly what Disney's core audience wanted to hear. The talent, her voice is next level, and her emotional depth is hard to ignore. But that talent now comes with a side of handle with care. And in this industry, being dependable and easy to work with often counts more than just raw skill. That's what's got some producers hesitating. At just 23, Zegler still has a shot to steer things in a new direction, but Hollywood doesn't forget, especially when money's on the line and productions start falling apart. Studio execs remember missed cues, delays, and walkouts that hit their bottom line. And that kind of rep, it sticks. What makes this moment so intense is the clash between undeniable talent and the messiness surrounding it. Zegler's abilities aren't up for debate. She's got star quality. The concern lies in the pattern, kicking off projects with big excitement, then slowly backing away when things get rough. For young performers trying to make it in this cutthroat game, her journey is a major reality check. One breakout role might get your foot in the door, but keeping that door open, that takes consistency, humility, and a rep for being solid when it counts. Technical talent might open the door, but it's your attitude that decides how long you get to stay in the room. Theater, more than any other space, feels it when things go off track. Unlike film, where a messy take can be fixed in post, live theater runs on real-time teamwork, trust, and flow. So when the lead starts acting unpredictable, the whole production feels the shake-up immediately. What's wild about the Evita mess is how fast it all spiraled. It didn't start with explosions, it started small. A few late arrivals, some pushback on directorial choices, creative clashes that on their own might not raise red flags. But over time, those little things stacked up into a total breakdown of trust behind the scenes. And then came the moment that really stunned the industry, when director Jamie Lloyd allegedly stopped talking directly to his lead actress. That's huge. In theater, that kind of relationship is sacred. Directors and stars usually work side by side, shaping performances with constant feedback and adjustments. But in this case, that bond was reportedly broken completely. From then on, all communication had to go through assistants and stage managers. That's basically unheard of in the professional theater world. For fans watching from the outside, the story might look like gossip or just another celebrity controversy. But for those in the industry, this kind of breakdown hits different. It's not just about drama. It's about whether a production can even survive when its core creative relationships start falling apart. Rachel Zegler's ride or die fans see her as a young artist pushing back against outdated power structures, someone who's fighting to protect her creative voice in a system that doesn't always make room for it. Folks on the industry side, they're seeing something very different. To them, this looks like a growing pattern of unprofessional behavior that puts major productions, along with all the time, money, and effort behind them, at serious risk. That leaked rehearsal footage has only made the divide wider. The moment where security approaches Zegler, for some it screams mistreatment, proof that she's being shut down for speaking up. But for others, it's seen as a necessary step to handle a situation that had spiraled way out of control. Same clip, totally different takes. This kind of split reflects something bigger, a shift happening across all kinds of industries. Expectations around how people work, how they speak up, and how leaders respond are all changing fast. Zegler's way of handling the heat, emotional, poetic social media posts instead of straight-up explanations, gets tons of love from fans. But behind the curtain, insiders are reportedly getting tired of the ambiguity. They want accountability, not just vibes. And now the spotlight's on what comes next. Industry sources say there are a few options on the table. Take on smaller, low-pressure projects to rebuild trust, team up with directors known for guiding young talent, or even step away for a bit and plan a serious comeback. One thing's clear: how Zegler moves from here will shape the next chapter of her career big time. The real mountain ahead for Rachel Zegler: rebuilding trust, not just with producers or execs, but with the directors, castmates, and crews, who have to rely on her when the spotlight hits and the pressure's on. In this industry, talent gets your foot in the door, but what keeps you in the room is being the kind of person people want to work with again and again. This whole situation has raised some serious questions behind the scenes. How do productions better support young stars suddenly thrust into major roles? What kind of guidance or structure might stop personal struggles from blowing up into full-on crises that threaten an entire show? No matter what ends up happening with Evita or Zegler's role in it, there's no denying this is a turning point. She's only 23, and that means she's got plenty of time to take control of her story and flip the script. Her talent? Still top tier. But the real test now is whether she can lock in and thrive in the team-focused, high-pressure world that big productions demand. What she does next could either revive her image or write the next chapter of controversy. The spotlight's still on her, but it's up to her to decide what we'll see. If you made it this far, hit that like button, share this with someone deep in the drama, and don't forget to subscribe for more wild stories straight from the entertainment world. Catch you on the next.